Hey guys, what's going on? Will here, Flawless Exotic Creations, coming to you guys with another video. And this week, hopefully, this video will get you guys thinking, processing, and rocking and rolling. But this is just going to tell you a little bit about our experience. When you're kind of walking that unbeaten path, like we're attempting to do, things don't always go well. I don't really know. I'm just going to shoot it to you guys straight because for us it still is working out well and it will continue to work out well. We have to constantly remind ourselves in this industry, in this hobby, that it has to be about the animals. It has to be about the animals. It has to be about the care that you provide. It has to be about the quality of life that you provide for your animals while you seek to create some interesting combos along the way. That being said, I feel that it's very, very needed for us to drop this video as it pertains to price points, price drops, price hikes, expensive projects, inexpensive projects. We need to remember everything that I've stated already about the goals of keeping and breeding. As a breeder, as a keeper, you're going to have, number one, you're going to need business plan. You're going to need some type of planning. Even if it's not a business, you want to have some type of planning. That's the number one thing that I would suggest or advise against. Don't just go and buy random pretty snakes. Do your research, figure out what you're going to want to work on, what you're going to want to work towards. Because with all these combos and different, snakes being created, I mean, man, some of everything is going to really, really catch your eyes getting into this thing. And you don't want to go down a path where your budget for what you want to do, whether having fun or turning it into a business, ends up being stretched thin. Because you went down too many avenues. Try to stay as focused as possible. There's going to be some things that you're going to, it's going to spark your interest. You're going to want to jump into. I'm going to try to keep this as not a series, as just kind of just rocking and rolling with this one out. But a situation as far as for us, not really a situation, I'll say an instance, a good example of something that wasn't 100% successful of a move that we made was a year ago. We were, number one, we got in to the ball pythons during the whole COVID era. So hopefully you guys subscribe and follow our journey. And maybe we will end up being successful. We're doing very well at the moment, thankfully. But we're busting our behinds over here. We got in the high, and when the prices on everything was extremely high, pretty much at the top of the ladder, and then things started to decline price-wise. Crazy thing about it, we're still extremely positive because this industry, the reptile industry, it's extremely rare. I mean, we are not, culling snakes for food or for their skin in this hobby. That's not what we're doing. So everything we create is we're creating life. So in theory, I know no one wants to look at it that way. You spend $1,000 for a snake. Let's say the snake enjoys a 20-year lifespan with you or with the person that you sell that snake to. Let's just say 10 years of the 20, it gives you clutches, and the other years it don't. Yes, you have to feed it, but we have to feed everything anyway. And on average, 6 eggs, 10 years, 10 clutches, 6 eggs a piece, you're still looking at 60 babies. Even if you were able to reproduce the same snake that cost you $1,000 for $200, you're still gonna be at $12,000 off of 10 clutches off of that snake. In a perfect world where, yeah, you have to provide a breeder male and everything, the gist of it is stop worrying so much about the actual value of that one specific purchase, that one specific sale, because it matters on both sides. There's a lot of sellers out there as well, where, you know, whatever your project may be. I don't want to start throwing projects out there. This video is not meant to piss anyone off. It's to bring people together. But for Joe Blow Gene or Joe Blow combo, if during COVID it was yielding $3,000, and here it is 2 years later, and the same combo, you know, is selling for $900, but you're still stuck at $2,500 and $3,000, and you're upset because you can't move those combos. It's the process and way in the way you think that's preventing you from moving said animals. You have to see where the market is at. I'm not saying bottom it out, but you should be in the running in the middle or upper level of wherever you want to be. It's a free world. You can price things wherever you want, but you can't necessarily be disappointed if your $3,000 snake is not selling when other people are creating the same combos and making them available for 30% of what you're charging. That's what's going on out here, where everyone's starting to understand, you know, the direction of where everything is going, which leads us back to us. You know, a year ago we purchased what's now to be known as pretty basic, but we were really excited about purchasing a 1,000-gram clown pod female. This female was $7,000. Okay, we paid $7,000. This probably was 15 months ago. We are pretty serious in our clown pod project, but there's tons of people far leaps and bounds ahead of us. We have several other females and males in that program, but it was very important that, you know, we wanted to get into it and get into it in a big way. There's a lot of argument out there or discussion out there about buying babies versus breeders versus juveniles. I think buy what you want, guys. I don't regret, you know, having us go in this direction at all. But we want to be transparent and put the information out there so it allows you guys to make a decision on what you would like to do. Yes, you can buy babies. Babies are typically going to be a little cheaper, because you still got to invest your time and grow them out. Or you can buy breeders. They're a little bit bigger, but it's still flip the coin. They may not eat with you. They may not breed with you. They may not lay. You're going to have ups and downs no matter which way you go. So with a lot of our programs, we bought babies. We bought babies in the exact pairings and combos that we wanted. And then we ventured off and bought breeders and juveniles. We did a lot of different things, and we don't regret any of it. Now with this specific girl, we purchased her. She was 1,000 grams. Now to this day, I would say she's probably about 1,300 grams. 14 months later, I believe she is 3 years old, and she eats sporadically. She's been more consistent now than anything. When we first got her in, we had to get her adjusted. She took 1 meal, and then after that, she went on probably a 6-month hiatus. Would not take a meal. Offered her mice, offered her rats, would not take a meal. Just had to wait her out. She started back eating, and now she's finally eating consistently. I like talking about, or I want to talk about her, because it's very important that you guys understand that even spending $7,000 on a clown pod female, where right now you can probably get them for $1,000, for us, we don't see it as a complete loss, but we want to be transparent with you. Why we don't see it as a complete loss is because we don't look at our collection as one-to-one, meaning we don't look at our collection as, hey, I buy a clown pod for $7,000. I expect to sell a clown pod for $7,000 for the next 10 years. It's unrealistic, okay? Very unrealistic. Point blank period, no excuses. We want what we want, just like you want what you want. Every snake that you see out there, everything in life has its own customer, if that makes sense. There's people out there, if given enough money, they could be filthy rich. They would never go and buy a Lamborghini. It's just not for them. But a Lamborghini customer, that car is for them, you know. So I think to each his own. But when it comes to living creatures, this is one of the only things out there that's capable to give back to you. It's not just cut and dry as, oh well, we lost 7 grand. No, we didn't. It just sucks because we didn't turn over holdbacks in which we wanted to keep and produce and progress that double visual project along further, faster. But we also have other clown pies. But once she does reach breeding size and starts breeding, she will produce for us. We're still not going to be disappointed because we're not just going to produce clown pies. We're going to push the threshold even further. We're going to be adding actually 2 more recessives to her. We'll talk about that later, but we're going to be adding 2 more recessives to her. So she's going to be in a completely different program as we move forward, which is going to be a staple for us as far as adding some holdbacks in our collection that will produce in the 4 and 5 years to come. We are in this for the long run. It's all about longevity, planning, and being smart. So over the course of hopefully the next 10-15 years, we still have a very, very young clown pie female that, knock on wood, will produce for us. As long as we aid to her, give her the proper care, the proper needs that she needs, take care of her, and enjoy her. We are still enjoying her. So, $7,000 mistake, you can see it as, you can see it that way. We don't necessarily see it as a mistake. It's just a building block. It's just like that analogy I use with the Lamborghini. For us, we were the customer for her, and the seller was able to move her. But on the opposite side of things, we need to make sure that we don't lock in on certain expectations for any particular combos in these snakes, because basic principles to business still applies to the reptile industry. Supply versus demand, period. When the supply is high, demand is low. Supply is low, demand is high. And every single time you turn around, that is going to affect the pricing. That should affect the pricing. So don't get stuck and locked in. Just keep being creative. Sit down to the drawing board. Figure out which avenues you want to continue down, and try not to constantly repeat the same simple combos over and over and over and over, unless your projects have a need for those combos. Again, just short little story for you guys. Hopefully this still inspires you to go out and snag whatever you've been keeping your eyes on. Certain things are not going to drop. Like I said, supply versus demand, they're just not going to drop until other people start creating them and make them more accessible. And other things will continue to drop. That's just how it goes. And as the economy increases and improves, you'll see prices across the board improve and go up, but the same rules will always apply. Anyway, it's Will, Flawless Designer Creations. We out.